Okay, so let's dive into this. We've all seen it, right? You've got solar panels doing their thing, generating clean energy.
And then the clouds roll in. Or worse, it starts raining.
Exactly. And bam, your power output just plummets.
Yep.
Sometimes, what, 40%, maybe more?
Oh, easily. That intermittency, it's the big challenge for solar, making it consistently reliable.
Even somewhere like Georgia, which gets a lot of sun and has tons of solar now,
Hmm.
but you still have cloudy days, humid summers, gray winters.
Right, conventional panels just hit their limit when the sun isn't cooperating.
But what if that rain, the very thing that stops the solar power, could actually make power instead?
Ah, now that's where the material for this deep dive gets really interesting.
Yeah, we're looking at this idea that merges standard solar panels with something totally new, capturing energy from the raindrops themselves on the same panel.
It's about these hybrid systems. They combine the normal solar PV photovoltaic tech with something called triboelectric nanogenerators. Let's just call them TNGs. Much easier.
Tenzags. Got it. And we're digging into their potential specifically through research focused, well, right here in Georgia.
And Georgia's a great place for this kind of study, isn't it?
It seems perfect. You get, what, over 218 sunny days a year? So
Yeah.
great solar potential.
But you also get a good amount of rain, around 48 inches annually on average.
So you've got the weather for both sides of this hybrid tech, sun and rain.
Precisely. And the tang part, how it works, it's pretty neat. Remember static electricity, rubbing a balloon on your hair?
Uh-huh.
Tangs use a similar idea. They convert the mechanical energy, like a raindrop hitting the panel, into electricity. It's about charge separation, electrostatic induction. Basically, the impact creates a tiny bit of power.
So the raindrop smacking the panel literally generates a charge.
See?
That's kind of wild.
It is. When the drop hits a special surface layer, the source material mentions things like PDMS or FEP, these water-repelling materials that contact, creates a quick separation of charges. Electrons flow for just an instant.
A pulse of power.
A pulse, exactly. And the research shows some impressive results already. Designs getting up to 200 watts per square meter just from simulated rain.
Wow, 200 watts per square meter. Just rain. I think the source even mentioned that in some tests, during heavy rain, the tanks actually generated a bit more power than the solar cells could have in those conditions.
That's right, and they're improving it too, using different layers like molybdenum trioxide, MO2s to boost the charge density, getting conversion efficiencies over 12% in some lab settings. Georgia Tech's even looking at combining it with tiny water wheels on the panel.
Okay. So how do you actually stick these two things together, the solar bit and the rain-catching bit?
Well, the idea is to integrate really thin, transparent tenures right on top of the solar cells.
Transparent, so the sunlight still gets through.
Mostly, yeah. One design they talked about let 85% of the light pass through, so the solar part still works almost like normal.
And then the 10 layer just kicks in when it rains.
Yeah. Yep. It generates power independently. Some trials showed these hybrid panels kept around 19% solar efficiency while adding that extra power from the rain.
So the goal is solar power when sunny, tang power when rainy, getting you closer to, like, continuous energy generation.
That's the vision. But, integrating that dual power source, especially getting it onto the grid, that brings challenges.
Right, managing two different kinds of input. You'd need smart systems, maybe storage.
For sure. The tech for managing storage exists. The source mentions controllers for EV chargers and things. But Georgia's policies for connecting these distributed systems, they're still catching up.
Yeah, the source flagged things like the 10 kilowatt cap on residential systems. And sometimes delays just getting permission from utilities to even connect, right? Grid stability concerns.
Exactly. Those policy hurdles, plus maybe fewer incentives like net metering compared to other places, can slow things down for homeowners or small businesses wanting to adopt this.
Still, the potential uses they discuss sound really useful. Think about Georgia's agriculture, huge industry, $74 billion, right?
Absolutely. The sources talk about powering sensors for precision irrigation, things that need to work reliably, rain or shine.
Makes sense. Tenjis could keep sensors going during a storm when solar cuts out.
Yeah.
Could prevent crop damage or monitor fish ponds.
Yeah, that resilience is key. And not just farms, urban uses too. Powering streetlights, EV chargers in cities like Atlanta.
They mentioned an e-bike charger study, didn't they? Hybrid-powered hit over 91% efficiency during rain because the tangs were contributing.
That's the one. Even simple things like optimizing panel tilt showed good gains. Now, the cost is higher up front than just solar, maybe $3, $3.50 per watt, the source suggested.
But there are incentives, like federal tax credits, state sales tax exemptions.
Right, and one analysis showed a hybrid system in Savannah could potentially save over $18,000 more than solar only over 20 years, mostly because it's making power on those rainy days.
That really drives home the value of catching that rain energy.
It does, but there are still technical hurdles. Making the Tang layers durable enough for Georgia's humidity, maybe hail,
Yeah.
and scaling it up efficiently for big panels.
Okay, so wrapping this up, this deep dive shows rain-powered solar isn't just science fiction. It's real, it's being developed, and research, especially in places like Georgia, shows it could make solar way more reliable. Sun or rain.
Yeah, it's about using the specific local climate, both the sun and the rain, to get more consistent power. The next steps are really clearing those policy roadblocks and refining the tech for durability and scale.
So here's a final thought for you listening. If we can genuinely get useful energy from something as everyday as rain hitting a surface, how could that change where we even think about generating power in the future? What else could we tap into?